Good evening, YouTube. So, a little bit of an update on how things are going in the business this week or halfway through this month. I thought I'd do a bit more of a regular update instead of just the end of the month one because things have been moving pretty fast, not always in the best of ways either. So, I'll talk about that right off the bat. If you're not up to date in what's been happening in Amazon over the past couple of weeks, I'd say there's been a bit of a scandal with the brand YouMove. So, if you're a pet person, you may have heard of this. I'm not really a pet person. But what's essentially happened, we've got a brand called YouMove. They sell their products on Amazon, or third-party sellers do as well. Unfortunately, one of the sellers was selling counterfeit items. So it was a tablet that the dogs eat, and I don't quite know what it's supposed to fix. I wasn't selling that exact item myself. Unfortunately, I think the dogs had to be put to sleep, and there's quite a few other dogs that are seriously ill as a result of it. So obviously the customers have got in touch with Amazon. Amazon have just sort of done a bit of a knee-jerk reaction and refunded any customers that have bought any YouMove products, it seems, off any third-party sellers. So what it means for people like myself as a third-party Amazon seller, obviously I'm never going to sell counterfeit goods. I always check things that I'm buying. If there was even a slight chance that something's counterfeit, I wouldn't be sending it into Amazon. Obviously everyone accepts those terms and conditions when you sign up to Amazon as a seller, and you just shouldn't be doing it anyway. How it's affected me is I've bought, it was like a dog cream. I'm not entirely sure what it was. I think I only had about 7 units of them. I think I'd sold them around July time. So because it's caught in this 6-month window that Amazon have just decided, we're going to refund everyone's orders within 6 months. Those items that have sold, I think they're about £25 each and 7 of them. So, you do the maths. They've just been automatically refunded to the customers. As far as I'm aware, it's just an automatic refund. I don't think the customers were aware that they were going to get a refund. I don't think any had, requested it, because a lot of them just came through at exactly the same minute for me anyway. Some sellers are down thousands on this. I think luckily I'm probably only down about, I can't do the math off the top of my head, probably about 150 quid, something like that, maybe a bit worse. However, what has happened is Amazon have everyone was left wondering what's going on with our money. Are we going to get refunded for this? Because I bought legitimate products. I've sent it out, I've sold it, so I've lost the sale price and I've lost the goods because the customer's still got them. So we've all just sort of been left wondering what is going to happen. Are we going to get refunded? So what has happened is Amazon have sent out an email to people who are selling YouMove products and basically requested, or I wouldn't say requested, I'd say insisted that they give the whole supply chain information. Not only that, but even things like your company registration documents, which you've already submitted to Amazon anyway when you open an account, so that was just a bit bizarre. But loads of other things like bank statements and that. You've got 90 days to comply with them, otherwise they'll investigate your account for fraudulent activities. So obviously I fall into that boat. There's probably thousands of other sellers that fall into that boat, and I'm sure 99.9% of them are legitimate sellers, except for the one seller that was selling counterfeit items, who, if you look on Companies House, has folded his business anyway, so he's probably got away scot-free. Whereas all these other sellers are obviously not going to be coming out too good out of this. If you look back at sort of the history of how Amazon deal with seller accounts, or their seller support seems to be pretty much non-existent. So I haven't sent off all my documentation yet. Obviously it's coming at a pretty awful time just before Q4. You have 90 days to respond to it. So I think my sort of plan is, I've got a fair bit of money tied up in Amazon at the moment, try and get as much of that out as possible, sell through some of my Q4 items, and then sort of submit just after Christmas. So I'll have to double check on the timings. But what I don't want to happen is, and the reason why I'm submitting it a little bit later and not immediately, not that I don't have all the information in the documents, I do, but I don't want, which has happened previously, someone at Amazon that isn't necessarily too clued up to read my documents, not read them correctly, and then just deactivate my account. Because as it stands, my account is still active. So I might as well sell through as much as I can, get as much money out, and then submit after the busiest period of the year. So yeah, really bad timings. Obviously the biggest loser out of all this is the dog, and all the dogs and the families that have had the dogs, but there's lots of small businesses that are out thousands at the moment. Luckily I've not been affected too much, but it could be the end of my Amazon account and a fair few other people's, but I'm going to say optimistic, as doom and gloom as I sound. Things like this, I'd say, have happened before, but I don't really know. I've only been selling on Amazon properly for, just under a year, so we'll see how things go. I'll keep you up to date on it. on a brighter note, after talking about that, so far, I'm looking at my watch, we are 15th of November, so halfway through November. We've got, well, we're well into the way of Q4. I was clinging on to quite a few items that were, I was making good money on them already, but I'd set my prices high so that when Q4 kicks into fashion, which it definitely has for me at least now anyway, I'll hopefully all the other sellers would sell out, and then I can start selling things at the higher price because I'd be like one of a few sellers left. And that strategy has definitely worked. I don't think I'm going to, hold on to things at too high a price from this point onwards, especially with what's going on. But yeah, there was a certain like advent calendar that I was selling. I think about a month ago, it was about £25 it was selling for, and there was already profit in that, quite decent profit to be honest. But I think I just sold out of those about, I don't know, maybe a week or two ago now, and they were selling in the end for £35. I think I even had one returned, and then it's just sold for £39 or something along those lines. So it just goes to show patience is a little bit of a, a good thing, especially when you're selling on Amazon FBA. Just if you're trying to sell through quick as possible, if that's your strategy, fair play. But if you've got time and you don't mind waiting, especially when you're so close to Q4, it does sometimes make sense to hold your prices firm and sell at a higher price once everyone else is, all the tankers have got off the listing. So yeah, that has sort of resulted in me so far having the best month that I've had on Amazon, and we're not even halfway through, or we're just about halfway through. So I won't go into the figures, but I'm well over £1,000 in profit for the month, and I think I've only really had like £1,000 month when you look at it so far since February when I started off on Amazon. The ROI on those sales so far have been ridiculous. I think I posted this in one of the Facebook groups. It's like 170% return on investment, which is just like mental. It's unheard of. And that is partly due to one of the big online retailers having a warehouse closing sale. If you know which one that is, then you know, and hopefully you made the most out of it as well. I certainly did. I've still got quite a few things that are just about coming through. And honestly, there's a bit of a backlog of like accounts and admin to deal with regards to that as well, because we're making so many orders each day or every other day that, tracking which ones were cancelled, which ones were out of stock and, have been refunded has just been a bit of a nightmare. So maybe in the future, when I've got a bit more funds, I'll be investing in a admin VA or just putting a bit more time into it. I think I'm only, a couple of months behind on admin, which is definitely too much. You should be definitely keeping on top of it as much as you can. So yeah, that's basically it. We've had a bit of a shocker. So I've still got my account active. It's not been deactivated. I have also had an IP complaint, I think it was. Well, no, sorry, it was a parallel import, and there was a product which I never even sold. I don't think I even sent in, but I made the listing, and then it turns out that an ingredient in that product, I think it was some kind of skin cream, that ingredient has now been like banned in the UK. So I got a bit of a warning on my account for that, but I don't think it's affected my account health. So hopefully that just drops off. But yeah, I'll probably do whole other video on account health in the near future, because it's been, out of all the things with learning how to do things on Amazon, besides sourcing, I'd say managing your account health and like things of what not to do just to like keep your account going. It's definitely one of the trickiest things to get your head around. Like I'm still trying to figure it all out. What is the difference between an IP complaint, a parallel import? I can't even think of the rest off the top of my head, but it is Friday evening, so forgive me. But yeah, there's so many different ways that you can damage your account health. And then as we've seen recently with Section 3s and this whole UMove thing, you're potentially going to lose your account anyway. So even if you do everything right, so the best thing that you can do, as I go back to talking about admin, is just keep well on top of admin. Because if I hadn't have like kept the receipts and the bank statements and things like that for this whole UMove thing, then I'd certainly have no chance at all. I'm going to submit what I have got and hope for the best. But yeah, there's a bit of a 10-minute ramble on how things are going. So it has been the best month so far. I'm only halfway through it financially on Amazon, and eBay has been doing really well as well, but we've got this lingering over our heads. So this may be my first and last Q4 on Amazon. Who knows? But either way, I have loads of stuff to list on eBay, so I'll get cracking with that just to sort of balance the risk, if you like. And I'll see you in the next video.